Hi YouTube and welcome to my first live recording. This is a reading from my first chapter of my book, which at the moment has the working title of The Voyage of the Manchuria Iridani, and this chapter is called Dry Dock. Dry Dock of Toitsu Collective Space Division was large, imposing, and implausibly robust. It was known by the name of Yokachi Shipyard, after one of the first ports the collective had acquired back in the corporate days of the early 21st century. Mainly painted in the collective colors of blue and silver, it hung bulky and stalwart against the vast blackness of space. Bright and shining, a shining city, a beacon of human progress suspended like an azure rock crystal glistening in the sunlight. Unmatched in vaunting aspiration, and despite reality, it seemed unmoving against the backdrop of blue from Earth's Pacific Ocean. Over-engineered to the point of being ridiculous, slowly the four graceful arches of the construction rig slowly made their silent rotations. The shadows of those arches danced and played on the surface of the smaller, but no less impressive construction within. These arches projected like a halcyon's nest the tender egg-like ship that was their charge. Robotic construction drones zipped about sturdy yellow construction gantries leading from the arches. At incredible speeds, the drones labored as they hastily put together the final touches of exterior hull plating. In this station's cradle-like interior lay a ship that would be christened Manchuria Iridani, and there was now only 3 days left to the time of hatching. "She's going to be a fine ship, this one," remarked head engineer Braxton. "She's the fastest, most advanced piece of tech the Toitsu Collective has yet put through this yard," he infused further. "The hull is constructed from buxterine D-sup tripolymer, or BDT, as we like to say." A broad smile crossed his mustachioed face as he continued. "BDT, you might like to know, is a molecular composite of graphene nanotubules and D-sup protein interweaving. It's amazing stuff." D-sup, or damage suppression protein, is a molecule found in those virtually indestructible creatures known as tardigrades, or water bears, and had been discovered during the early years of the last century. But it had not known any real applications until the recent expansion of the collectives into deep space. One of the first applications of this remarkable wonder material was by a team of Russian scientists in the skin of the decommissioning robots used to complete the removal of the Chernobyl dead reactors. The Toitsu Collective had acquired this valuable intellectual property after the fall of the last Russian pravitelstvo. During the most recent collective clearances of the last remaining nationalist governments. Braxton was a tall, stout fellow with the air of nonchalant, cool, and collected authority that became the master engineer of a spaceship yard. His dark hair was complemented somewhat by not an overly large and fashionable moustache, which also matched neatly with his black and red engineer's tunic. His black form and facial adornment also complemented the commander of operations' rank stripes offset in golden blue braid at the ends of his neatly square and well-appointed shoulders. Braxton's manner of speech was unhurried but excitable as he spoke of the wonders of the project that was soon to come to fruition. The interweaving process was not perfected properly until very recently, and produced a metamaterial that is both strong and lightweight and radiation resistant. The whole shipyard will be retrofitted with it after the launch." He looked on with admiration over the overly large viewport window as the crowd of assembled collectivist journalists and private bloggers snapped up their pictures and held out their portable recording devices. As slowly the sun came streaming once again into the shipyard's cavernous bay, bathing the ship in brilliant glowing iridescence. The assembled gathering let out a collective gasp as the sun glanced off the nearly complete outer coating. With this, the name of the ship made sense. She was radiant, luminous, and sleek. Daniel Felton held back his own gasp as he saw his new ship for the first time. He had come to the station with the party of journalists and had tagged along with Braxton's infamous shipyard tour. He wasn't just plugging the shipyard and the collective when he said that the Manchuria Iridani was the best ship in the fleet. However, Daniel felt that he agreed with the likeable and well-built shipyard commander that, in his opinion, this still-to-hatch ship is going to be the high point so far of human endeavours in space. This would also serve, Filton concluded, that his soon-to-commence service on board her might well be the zenith of his early career. His only subconscious reticence was that this was not a peak too soon. Filton knew all too well that this ship, his ship, was going to be the best yet built, as he recalled many of the specifications he had had to learn as part of the training for the mission he was about to become an integral part of. Daniel Filton recalled briefly the message that he had read some 16 months before, telling him that his application for the position of chief engineer had been successful, and the delight he had felt at the start of his chosen career path that few get the opportunity to even pursue, and still fewer succeed. The Iridani was 250 meters of composites, fuel tanks, observation equipment, and crew compartments. Filton brought to mind as he looked in wonder at his ship. 3 computer cores, 2 data centers for storage and retrieval, a maximum crew capacity of 30 people, though she could be crewed with much less. Operating space was spread over 8 decks with 4 decks of service and crawl space, a 3-pod shuttle bay and 10 personal escape pods, active and passive air and water recycling plants, and the lists of amenities and space luxuries went on.